Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Director of Public Prosecutions provide clarity on decision to drop charges against WISYNCO. JTA elects new president. And later in sports, Reggae Boys head coach delivers stern warning after Gold Cup exit. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carrie Simpson. Here are the details. Amid discontent by local environment groups, Director of Public Prosecutions DPP Paul Llewellyn has sought to provide clarity on the decision to drop charges against WISYNCO. The issue stems from a pollution incident in the Rio Cobre in St. Catherine. On Monday, WISYNCO was freed of a pollution charge after the prosecution admitted it did not have enough evidence to link the manufacturing and distribution company to the release of contaminants into the Rio Cobre in July 2023. The company was charged under Section 11 of the Wildlife Protection Act. During the hearing in the St. Catherine Parish Court, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution revealed that the conditions required for a successful prosecution had not been established. The outcome of the case has sparked outrage among environmentalists. Speaking on the morning agenda on Power 106 FM, Director of Public Prosecutions DPP Paul Llewellyn sought to provide clarity.
The section that the company was charged under was Section 11 of the Wildlife Protection Act. And it basically states that anyone or any person, or also it will include company, who causes or knowingly permits to flow or puts or knowingly permits to be put, whether directly or indirectly, into any harbor, in this case it's a river, and you have stream, canal, etc., containing fish. Any trade effluent or industrial waste or sewage or noxious or polluting matter shall be guilty of an offense.
Mrs. Llewellyn said, based on the evidence provided in court, there were several red flags.
When we looked at the evidence of the officer who went on the scene, she formed the view on the visit that the plant manager, they had been carrying out maintenance work on the plant, and it was they from NEPA who told the plant manager that there was a break in the pipeline, and he made a call and all the pumps were turned off. And she formed the view that the pipeline, having been recently commissioned from her information, that WISYNCO was not aware that there has been a break in the pipeline. Now, for a prosecutor, that's a red flag, because it may mean that the knowingly that it is going to be difficult to have sufficient circumstances to prove.
Additionally, the DPP said there was no sampling taken from the pipeline coming from WISYNCO, as well as what was released into the Rio Cobre to link the two.
Suspicion and assumption and speculation is not sufficient to meet the high threshold required in the criminal code.
Principal of St. Faith's Primary in St. Catherine, Lysandra Harrison, is the Jamaica Teachers Association JTA president-elect. This following yesterday's presidential elections. Of the 11,610 votes cast, she received 6,651 votes, followed by Jermaine Williams with 2,771, while lecturer at the Micro University Dr. Maureen Mullings Nelson got 1,883. Mrs. Harrison will be officially proclaimed at the 61st Annual Conference scheduled for August 18 to 20 at the Princess Grand Hotel in Hanover. Opposition spokesman on land Lothan Cousins says if the People's National Party forms the next government, it will amend the Registration of Titles Act of 1833 to lessen the time for citizens who occupy government land to own it. The almost 200-year-old legislation says citizens must occupy government or crown land for at least 60 years to prove ownership. Mr. Cousins says the PNP plans to more than half that time frame.
PNP government We are proposing the reduction of 60 years to 25 years. Save and except for land on the foreshore. We believe this is ample time for the government to ensure that protections are in place. A PNP government will move with alacrity to amend the Registration of Titles Act to provide for a shorter time frame for persons who have been living on government land to claim it.
Mr. Cousins, who was making his sectoral presentation in Parliament on Tuesday, dubs it the single largest transfer of wealth from the state to the people. While acknowledging that the process will be no easy feat, he says it requires consultation and in some instances relocation where the lands are uninhabitable due to environmental concerns. However, he says the regularization will significantly improve the socio-economic conditions of many families.
May have benefited from infrastructure upgrades and intervention by various government agencies, including members of parliaments and councillors. It would therefore be hypocritical for us as leaders not to formulate a workable strategy to formally enable long-standing occupiers to acquire these properties that they have possessed for decades.
25 new school buses have arrived in Jamaica, kicking off a nationwide upgrade to student transport. The details in this report.
School buses, something most Jamaican students aren't used to. But that's about to change. The government of Jamaica is rolling out a major upgrade to rural school transportation with the arrival of the first 25 brand new school buses at Kingston Wharves on Tuesday. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz, along with Education Minister Dana Morris Dixon and Finance Minister Favour Williams, oversaw the offloading of the first batch. Minister Vaz says this is a transformative step for rural development and education.
It's not one set of people going to use this bus. It is every Jamaican child, regardless of color, creed, or what their parents' political affiliation is. So I am asking Jamaica, support this initiative. It is one of the best initiatives yet.
Students will pay a flat fee of $50. The buses are equipped with safety features and students will be monitored by teachers and parents. Drivers will be vetted and trained along with the system being fully cashless. All 14 parishes will benefit, with the buses allocated based on the needs of 258 rural schools.
This is a game changer. And my commitment is that we have 25 buses here today. We have 36 buses leaving out of New York tomorrow to get here next week. And on Friday, we have 25 more buses leaving out of Miami. And next week, Friday, 23. 110 school buses. Why 110? Because 10 of them are going to be held back as reserves. That anytime anything happens to any one bus, wherever it is, we will have buses located around Jamaica to be able to fill that void.
The government says this marks a new chapter in safe, reliable and affordable school transport across Jamaica. Antonia Atkinson, TVJ News.
The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, says preparations are well underway for the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, made the announcement during a recent tour of sections of the corporate area. He said the city is moving with urgency given the early signs of storm activity in the region. Shamila Pullen reports.
With the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season barely a month in, early signs of activity have already raised alarms across the region. Hurricane Eric, the first major storm of the season, recently tore through parts of Mexico, leaving widespread damage in its path. Here in Jamaica, Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, says the city is taking no chances. Mayor Swaby says preparations are well underway as forecasters warn of a potentially hyperactive season.
In May, what we have done, we had a readiness, check a state of readiness. We have invited all the various agencies to the KCMC, and they have given a report on their state of readiness. The KCMC itself has started to conduct their drain cleaning investigation. Where we establish a critical drain and having established critical drain to put a price to it, and then we will be going out to make sure that these drains are clean, that in the event of any heavy rain, that less flooding takes place.
Mayor Swaby says emergency response teams have been placed on standby.
Our own disaster preparedness coordinator has been tasked with the responsibility of looking at the flood-prone areas, the Harbour Views, the Bull Bay, the New Haven, to go out there and educate them about it. And at the same time, making sure that the drains are clean. Our technical team will make sure the drains are clean.
Jamaicans are encouraged to stay vigilant, take early warning seriously, and follow updates from the Met Service and ODPEM.
We have identified the shelters, and we will be going also on a shelter managers training. Most of the shelter managers are persons who have been done it as a shelter manager before, but it's good to have a refresher course from time to time.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, continues to engage Jamaicans in finding ways to improve its daily operations. Speaking at the recently held Transformation Expo 2.0, Deputy Commissioner of Police Andrew Lewis said the event attracted hundreds of citizens and highlighted key advancements in police operations and technology. The expo offered the public a closer look at the JCF's tools, strategies, and efforts to build stronger relationships with communities.
At the expo, we have been speaking to persons who have come to the expo, and we have been listening to some of the suggestions that they have been giving us, and we are actually taking on some of them on board for implementation. So even though we are opening our doors to the public to show them what we are doing, we are actually engaging the public to help improve what we do through their suggestions.
Now, with crime and violence remaining a serious concern across the island, the National Police College of Jamaica continues to boost recruitment efforts, urging Jamaicans to consider a career in policing.
As we speak now, the NPCJ is actually a center of excellence. One of the things we have sought to do is to get accreditation and to get our training programs recognized by the institutions that give accreditation. So, for example, the NPCJ, the National Police College of Jamaica, is registered with the University Council. A number of the courses that we offer are accredited. We are actually certified by IDLST, and that is a body that certifies police training colleges right around the world. So we are one of 34 colleges that are actually certified by IDLST.
And it's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the midday news, and it's now time for the Business Minute. The Bank of Jamaica says it will be withdrawing another $52 billion from circulation today in order to ease the pressure on the dollar, which closed trading at $161.13 yesterday. The bank also says private financial institutions and individuals will have to compete for $49.4 billion of this amount, while public sector institutions such as the NIF and the NHT, as well as other government companies and agencies, will be allocated $2.6 billion. Further afield, oil prices tumbled by 5% on Tuesday after Israel agreed to a ceasefire with Iran after nearly 2 weeks of conflict. Brent crude, the international benchmark for oil prices, fell below $67 a barrel by the end of day, though it then recovered some ground in later trading. Prices had spiked in recent days as concerns grew that Tehran would disrupt global supplies by blocking the Strait of Hormuz, a key shipping route for oil and gas. And that's it for the Business Minute. And here's a preview of what's coming up in this evening's health report.
In the next edition of the Health Report, we look at uterine fibroids.
In terms of having children after, that was a little bit of a grey area about 5 to 10 years ago. But the more recent studies show that the fertility rates after the fibroid embolization are even comparable to that of surgery. I still approach it with I still approach it in a guarded manner, and I make sure to go through the pros and cons of doing the fibroid embolization. I still don't primarily offer it for fertility reasons, but for patients who may want to get pregnant, it's no longer a contraindication.
That's the Health Report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. Adopt a balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Minimize processed foods, red meat, and alcohol. And find ways to manage your stress.
And now the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Trinidad and Tobago's Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara has announced a 24-hour tactical and canine security at Piarco International Airport. The boost in security follows a fatal shooting of a returning passenger in April and a fast food robbery this month. The commissioner says protecting the airport is critical and part of a broader strategy to deter crime. Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander supported the move, calling it a clear message to criminals. On the international scene, the ceasefire between Israel, Iran, and the US is holding, with life returning to normal in Israel. In Tehran, Iranian leaders are calling the truce a victory, claiming it came in response to their strong military actions. At a pro-government rally, some citizens praised the ceasefire, while others criticized it, saying Iran should have continued the fight. Iran's leadership insists its nuclear program remains intact and warns it is ready to act if provoked, maintaining deep distrust toward both the US and Israel. And those are the top regional and international stories. I'm Shane Masters.
We now head to another break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.